Former President Donald Trump has won enough delegates to be the Republican presumptive nominee for president. He is set to go up in the general election against President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee. Donald Trump has been the frontrunner since he announced his campaign in November 2022, but he started out as a bit of a weaker candidate. He was facing blame for his party's lackluster performance in the 2022 elections, and he was still facing some criticism, including from members of his own party, for his actions on January 6th. But since his challengers came into the primary, which were more than a dozen at one point, his challengers were weaker than expected, and Trump's legal problems have galvanized his supporters and pushed him forward to solidify the support of his party. While Donald Trump has won Republican primary contests by big margins, there are some warning signs for him ahead in the general election. The voters in the Republican primaries tend to be more conservative, and the voters in the general election are going to be a much more diverse group of people that Donald Trump is going to have to appeal to. He's also coming into this election with unprecedented legal challenges. He faces 4 criminal cases, more than 91 charges. He's been found liable separately by a jury for sexual abuse, and he's faced huge legal cases over his business dealings. All of those could really hurt him with voters in the general election. Donald Trump also has some strengths going into the general election. He was out early talking about the challenges at the border, which has become a bigger concern for voters of both parties heading into November. He also has been able to avoid some of the questions about age that Joe Biden is facing, even though he's only a few years younger than Joe Biden. Donald Trump also has a perception among some voters as being stronger on the economy, and his voters are still grappling with issues like inflation, high food prices. That could be something that plays to his advantage in November. Trump becoming the presumptive nominee for the 3rd time means that the challenges from any other Republicans hoping to end the era of Trump has mostly closed. Outside of some potential unlikely last-minute maneuvering at the Republican convention, Trump is set to be the party's nominee. This sets him up to use all the resources of the Republican Party, their state parties across the state, to help marshal his election in November.